Okay.
That was exhausting.
That was exhausting. So, it's late. That was a long game. I can't believe that I filled up over 4.5 hours of footage on my main camera. I've never filled the camera before, so I apologize. I don't know how much of the game I'm missing. I don't think a lot, but we do have the end of the game, so that should be okay. When we added up all the points, I took those archers off the board. That was actually a bad idea because I thought that I was totally crushed. And they are 190 points. And so we both wound up with approximately 1,100 points killed, which means I think he has a little bit more on me, but not more than 10%. So it's essentially a tie. We're too tired to crunch the numbers down to the exact digit. So you notice there is no winner's chair. We're calling it a draw.
It's a draw,
which makes me feel good because technically it's not a loss. Like my last 30 games. No, I don't lose that often, but I lose a lot. So 9th edition. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't play a lot of 8th edition, so for me, it feels like relearning a bunch of stuff that I don't need to learn. And I don't understand what things about the rules are better than 8th edition because I never understood 8th edition enough to know what the problems are. Do you agree or do you disagree?
Well, I'm fairly new to this game as well. So I started playing 8th edition and then maybe a month or two afterwards they changed it to 9th edition.
Right.
So I'm more right because the Age of Sigmar came out. So I'm more or less in the same boat. I think really what they did that mattered was that they changed the individual armies. So like I said earlier, the core rules are not that different, but the armies are just tweaked enough that no army seems overpowered, but I mean they're still working on it.
Here's the thing. I don't think that 9th edition was a response to Age of Sigmar. I believe that 9th edition existed before Age of Sigmar, and that it was people who were frustrated with the 8th edition rules having nothing to do with the fact that 8th edition was dying. Once 8th edition died, now you have this group of people with rules. So what that means is as time goes on, 9th edition is going to be more and more important because you're going to want to have new things and you're going to want to rebalance it and you're not going to want to play the same game over and over again. And I understand that. But I don't know if I'd really want to invest in 9th edition right now and really, really learn it. Although I did have fun. There was a bunch of similarities. Right. It's so similar to 8th edition. I don't know. I'm just not sure about it. Right now the fantasy world is in flux. You have Age of Sigmar, you have Kings of War, and you have 9th edition. And to be honest, my favorite so far is Kings of War. Just to be truthful.
Yeah, sure.
It's way easier, it's much faster, it's still a lot of fun, and you still get that regiment. I'm also an Age of Sigmar fan, so I don't know. I did have fun, that was great. It was a 3-hour game. It was a 4-hour game.
We had to check all the rules.
We had to check all the rules.
And I'm horrible at remembering rules, just saying I'm horrible.
But yeah, and I know we made a lot of mistakes in this game, and I'm sure people are going to point it out, and we encourage you to point it out. But I had fun. I enjoyed eating Mexican food.
Yeah.
I enjoyed your pencil with no tip or eraser.
It's important. It helps you with strategy, so it makes you feel much more like a gentleman.
But it's literally pointless pencil, which is pretty clever. It's like a pun.
It is.
It doesn't have a point.
It's like a writing tool that can't write. It's a metaphor for life, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Although the interesting thing is that Empire, Age of Sigmar, the Empire equivalent in Kings of War, 8th edition and 9th edition, they all function kind of similar, and they have a sort of similar tactic. So I do feel like overall I'm getting better at playing Empire, even though my last 4 games with Empire have been 4 different rule sets. But like the way that they work just more or less is the same. Yeah. Yeah. And you got to make sure you have your sacrificial units, and you got to get your shooting in there. Although I did feel like in this one, stand and shoot is more powerful because it doesn't have the -1 modifier, which is a little surprising to me. It only lets you shoot at half distance, so if something's much farther away, you don't get that. And again, I don't understand why crossbows are better than guns. I don't get it. I mean, they don't have piercing, but they have twice the range, or almost twice the range. I don't know. Yeah, what did you think?
In terms, I mean, it's hard for me to really comment on like Kings of War versus.
Well, just like how about 9th edition versus 8th edition, or versus Age of Sigmar?
I think it's a more streamlined game. It sort of makes more sense to me in terms of what the weapon, like the standard weapons, are doing. It seems more like what an actual weapon would react like. I've only played one game of Age of Sigmar, which was with
That's
you.
True. That's true.
And I remember being completely confused about that, but that's only because I was playing Warhammer. So I'm not sure. I mean, I guess I play 9th edition because the people I'm around play 9th edition.
You know what would be really fun? It'd be really fun to take these exact same lists and play Age of Sigmar.
And see what would happen.
Yeah, or take a very similar list and play some Kings of War and just kind of get that feel. Kings of War and Age of Sigmar is a much faster game. For me, that's important, but I'm 33 and I have a baby. Okay, so a 45-minute to an hour and a half game is kind of nice. For other people, if let's say you're only going to play once a month, or you're only playing every 6 weeks, or you don't have other obligations, and you can spend 3 or 4 hours, or you know the rules so well that everybody can just throw the dice. I don't know. I know the rules for Warhammer pretty well, and it's still a long game.
Yeah,
like,
it takes a long time.
Games,
I think that just from what you've told me about the other game, that it's important that Warhammer, you have to set it up. You have to remove your individual units. Once they've been removed, you have to put them on some other table, and you have to pack them afterwards, right? And the fact that
look, I'm at home, and I was just throwing things onto my shelf because I don't want to take an hour right now to set everything back up. Where Kings of War, you just when the whole tray dies, it dies, and you put it away, which is kind of cool.
Right. Yeah, and I can see why that's an advantage, right? Because you can just magnetize everything and just get it out.
Or just freaking glue it down.
Because our table is literally a shit show right now.
Yeah, the table right now, I guess I'll grab a picture. The table right now is a disaster. There's just dice everywhere, there's miniatures everywhere. Now I'm at home, I don't have to do shit, but he's gotta get
Yeah, I gotta get out of here,
so
pack everything back down.
Super fun. Thank you for coming over.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed this game. I know there's a ton of mistakes in this game, and that's okay. Sometimes you just have to dive right in. If you try to learn all the rules before you play something, you're never going to play. So this week I've played Kings of War. I have played 9th edition, and I also played a new board game, which I'm blanking out on. It's like Winter something, where you're fighting zombies.
Oh, that's up on your desk, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like Winter something. I don't know. I had to learn the rules for all those, and I know we make mistakes, but it's a lot of fun. If you don't just dive in, then you're probably never going to play.
Especially with these kind of games, because there's so many fucking rules.
Yeah, there's a lot of rules.
Jesus Christ, you can never remember half of them.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
See you guys next time. Remember, if you like what you see, tell your friends about it. If you don't like what you see, tell your enemies about it. Go ahead and hit that like button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does a lot for us. Please do subscribe and follow Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and Ello, Snapchat and Periscope and Gmail. And CoolGuysNation.com
and MySpace.
And there's actually no MySpace. I could make a MySpace.
You should make a MySpace.
I could make a MySpace. All right, see you guys later.